Well, tell me if you've heard this before. The Dallas Stars fall in game one to the Edmonton Oilers, who win it in overtime by a final score of 3-2. It's Connor McDavid with the overtime winner, and the Stars will have to play from behind once again. Let's jump into game one next on Locked On Stars.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Connor McDavid is inevitable. He scores the overtime winner, and the Edmonton Oilers take game one by a final score of 3-2 in double overtime. What a deflection off the pass of Evan Bouchard, who had himself a night, and the Oilers were able to take game one in Dallas, and I thought they were very deserving of the game. They were incredible from really the opening puck drop. Their PK was wonderful. Dallas gave them a run for their money. They got better as the game wore along, but they were a bit sloppy tonight. And look, the Stars certainly had their chances. They have to be kicking themselves, especially after that 4-minute power play they had at the beginning of overtime one. They hit a couple of posts, and yeah, the hockey gods may have not been on your side there in overtime. And then, of course, Connor McDavid buries his chance after getting robbed by Oettinger. There's so much to talk about in this game one. It feels like they played two. They practically did. And we'll jump into all that good stuff. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. The Stars were a little sloppy in the first two periods, I would say. They really struggled to find any rhythm offensively. The first period was a feeling out process for both sides. And then early in the second period, Edmonton does what they do best. They were really, really heavy on the forecheck, and then their big guys came up huge. Leon Draisaitl with the goal to open things up. He does get a fortunate bounce there. And then, of course, you have Zach Hymen, who was able to squirt one through the five-hole of Jake Oettinger, and it gave them a 2-0 lead. And Dallas did what I thought they did in Game 6 against Colorado for most of it. They just hung in there. They weren't playing their best. It wasn't their A game by any stretch of the imagination, and they gave themselves a chance. Tyler Seguin was the Stars' best player for the entire game. He was fantastic. Of course, he picks up both goals in this one, and he was great, along with Jamie Benn. Dallas just did not get much from others, to be completely honest. They struggled to really stack shift after shift. It was flashes here and there, but the trios just weren't rocking and rolling right off the hop. Maybe the 4 to 5 days of rest kind of crept in, and they had to work some of the kinks out, but they got better as the game wore along. I thought they were probably the better team in the first overtime period. I don't think they were the better team overall in the game. Edmonton, man, they were really, really good. They were diligent. They would probably like to stay out of the box a bit more, but hey, their PK has been fantastic. They've now killed I think it's 19 straight power plays, and the first 3 power plays were horrendous for the Stars. They couldn't win a face-off, could not get a shot on net. They hit Skinner a lot in the chest, really didn't make him work all that much. They missed a lot of net too. They just missed the net a few times. They were 0 for 7 in the dots on the first 3 power plays, which really, really hurt them. And then their entries were really poor. We'll get into that a bit later. But that 4-minute power play is the ball game. You have to score there. You got the best player in the world that is sitting for 4 minutes. You have to find a way to put the puck in the net. And Robertson hits the post twice. But other than that, they were struggling to get interior on Edmonton for most of the night. Just not, it wasn't just the man advantage. They just kind of struggled to get in the eyes of Skinner and just create some havoc around him in front of the crease. I thought Edmonton just played phenomenally, especially on the back end. Bouchard was great. He ends up with a 5.59 game score. His expected goals against was 0.35. And we talked with Nick yesterday about how key Evan Bouchard has been so far in the postseason for Edmonton. And he was every bit of that tonight for the Oilers. Kulak, for the most part, along with Ceci, that second pairing was decent. Kulak had the really, really bad turnover that led to the Stars' first goal, but I thought they played pretty strong. But Seguin was great tonight, and I don't want to gloss over that too much. He looked really great, just had a step. He was in the right place at the right time in that third period. The Stars only ended up with, 7 shots in that third period. And at one point, they were being outshot 7-3 by Edmonton. They were playing an excellent third period, and it looked like they were going to close this thing out, and the Stars were going to fall 2-1, but the Stars get a nice bounce, or not even a bounce. It's a great little deflection by Dodonov over to Seguin, and he's all alone for the slam dunk to tie the game at 2 to force the game to overtime. But the Stars certainly were not playing at their best tonight, and they hung around. They gave themselves a chance, but they have to find a way to get off to better starts against this Oilers team if they want to find some success. But they were trailing for a large part of the game, and I thought Edmonton just was really, really disciplined, especially on the back check. They just took a lot of plays away from Dallas. They had good sticks. They blocked a lot of shots. I think they ended up with 20 shots or 20 block shots on the night. And they were just really, really solid. I thought they were the better team for the majority of game one. And I mean, the PK ends up being the difference in this game. For the most part, the Stars did a lot of the keys they would like in terms of staying out of the penalty box. They just took the one bench minor, and they killed it off nicely. With some carryover into the third period, but you get 5 power plays. That number just glares at you. 5 power plays, and you can't capitalize on one of them, and that ends up being the difference in the ball game. And a 4-minute power play in overtime 1, right off the hop, a chance to bury it, send the crowd home happy, but instead, Edmonton with another excellent kill. They get some important stops by Skinner, who was great in the game. He was fantastic, and so was Ottinger as well. I thought the goaltending was superb in the game. Stars need to test Skinner a bit more, but he was excellent. He just stayed in his crease. He was using his body. He doesn't flail around. It's not a very, I would say, fancy way of playing the position. He spots up. He's really calm, and the Stars hit him in the chest a few times. And when he needed to make a big save, he did. And Jake Ottinger did for the most part as well. I mean, McDavid should have ended the game in the first overtime, and Ottinger just stayed with him and was able to get a stick on it. But the big boys for Edmonton, they all factor in. McDavid 2 points, Hymen 2 points, Bouchard an assist, Draisaitl a goal, and there you go. I mean, the big boys and the superstars have a great night, and Dallas just wasn't able to get enough here tonight, and they fall by a final score of 3-2. Yeah, Dallas did not have much of a forecheck tonight. Just didn't seem to have the legs. I thought it was pretty breezy for Edmonton to get out of their own zone. Ekholm and Bouchard were great, and Edmonton was really good, especially in between the blue lines, both ways. I thought they defended the Stars really well, and they were able to open it up a bit. Dallas was trying to stretch the ice out, and they did that for the third period quite a bit. They were using long stretch passes to try to catch Edmonton on their heels, which led to some things, but nothing of real substance, to be completely honest. I thought the third period for Edmonton was going swimmingly. And then, of course, the Stars end up finding the equalizer with Seguin. But at 5-on-5, Edmonton really controlled the pace of the play. They dictated, and they had the Stars really, really struggling. DeBoer once again had to jungle up the lines. He went back to Ben, Johnston, and Stankoven. Johnston didn't have his best night. Stankoven had his moments in the overtime period. He was one of the better forecheckers on the night for Dallas. Jamie Benn was probably the best in that department, along with Seguin. Just great effort from the Stars, especially on the boards, winning some of those puck battles. And it was a real even game. I thought it was a real entertaining game one for for all intents purposes. Unfortunately, the Stars just didn't take advantage of an opportunity. And when you have a 4-minute power play in overtime, you have to score. You have to score. And I even if the Stars won, I don't know if they necessarily deserve to win in a lot of aspects. And you have to give Edmonton a lot of credit. You tip their cap. They were very, very good tonight, and they got their chance in overtime once again, and McDavid wasn't going to miss it. He missed the slam dunk opportunity, but you give him another look, he's not going to miss, and he buries it for the overtime winner. So Stars have to make some adjustments, that's for sure. But I think they're going to play better. They've now lost 7 straight game ones to open up series in the Stanley Cup playoffs. They're just allergic to winning a game one. And I know that was a running joke even leading up to this series. Stars in 5, they're going to lose game one. And well, that ends up being the case tonight. They fall to the Oilers 3-2 in double overtime. And we're moving on to game 2 in Dallas on Saturday. Let's break down a bit more in depth the Stars' struggles on the power play particularly, and what Edmonton is doing very, very well against the Stars in that department. And we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by Game Time. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guaranteed. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Pick out specific games or matchups you'd love to attend. The Dallas Mavericks, of course, are in the Western Conference Final. They are going to be back in Dallas here in a few days. Why not use Game Time to get tickets to Game 3? Save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets up till tip. And you can do it for hockey. You can do it for the Stars. You can do it for concerts, comedy, theater, whoever you want to see recently. Go out and use Game Time. You can save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game time or event. Game Time will also credit you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same row or section for less. Take all the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. It takes 30 seconds to download the app. It's on the App Store or Google Play Store. Download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNHL. That's LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Well, the Stars go 0 for 5 on the power play in game 1. Edmonton obviously goes 5 for 5. They've now killed off 19 straight power plays. And what they did really, really well, number one, is they won a lot of draws in their own zone. They won the first 7 faceoffs in the defensive zone. Real simple stuff. The way Edmonton truly attacked Dallas in a lot of ways. One thing they did, which is a bit different from the way Colorado in Vegas defended the Stars on the power play is they are defending the Stars' entries really, really hard. They're forcing that pass to the boards or to the wing, whether it's Duchesne or Johnston or whoever is going to be carrying the puck in for Dallas. And as soon as that pass is made, they send that strong side defender right to him, and they try to kill the play there. And they're kind of giving them the middle of the ice in a lot of ways. And they're just pressuring the Stars immediately on entry, right at the blue line. So Dallas is going to have to find a way to be more creative on their entries, or they're going to have to embrace the dump and chase part of the game. They tried to dump in a few pucks on a few of their opportunities, but no one was on the same page. There was nobody forechecking, and it led to a lot of easy clears for Edmonton. The first 3 power plays, I don't know if the Stars had 2 shots. It was pretty clinical from the Oilers in that department. They won a lot of faceoffs, which certainly helped. They won 10 out of the 13 draws shorthanded, and that just kills power play momentum, and it kills anything the Stars were trying to set up. They struggled to get set up on their first 3 opportunities. The overtime one was completely different. Stars won faceoff after faceoff. They were getting shots through. Of course, Robertson hits a couple of pipes, which is very, very unfortunate, but Skinner makes a couple of big saves. And it was a sack up moment for Edmonton in a lot of ways, where you have to try to bail out your captain. And they bowed up. They bowed up, and they got a couple of big clears when they needed to. And for the most part, didn't give up a ton of high danger chances to Dallas on that 4-minute power play. If it's a shot you want to give up, it's Robertson from the circle, right? If you're going to get scored on, you have to kind of live with a shot from distance that maybe gets through or gets deflected. Dallas couldn't get any second chance opportunities on that power play. And they cleared the puck out of harm's way multiple times. And they really got to Dallas here in game 1. Interested to see how DeBoer is going to adjust, because they were just all out of sync for the most part, at least during regulation. The OT was certainly a different animal, but in regulation, they were just out of sync, trying to make too many plays, need to be a bit more simple, fire pucks on net, get some rebounds. It's not like Skinner was pristine in front of his own net. There are rebounds available. There are second chance opportunities that can be had, but you have to get pucks through. And Edmonton ended up blocking 24 shots on the night, and Dallas wasn't particularly clean on the defensive side either. Miro could be better. Harley could be better in a lot of ways. I thought some certain players had some off nights or some games to forget. It just wasn't the best team performance in a lot of ways for the Stars. So they have some work to do, obviously. And once again, you have to tip your cap to Edmonton. They were very, very good. You look at Evan Bouchard on the night, played over 28 minutes at 5-on-5. Shots were 18-8. High danger chances were 7-0. And the Oilers were 3 up. 3-0 with Evan Bouchard on the night at 5-on-5. And hey, Nick told us when Bouchard is on the ice, that's when good things are happening for the Oilers. And he was fantastic. Ends up with the highest game score on the nights. Stars fall to 3-5 at home in the postseason. And then they have to play from behind once again. It's another uphill battle in a series as they drop game 1 of the Western Conference Final. But special teams was the difference tonight. You score 1, 2, you'll win this hockey game. and you had your opportunity and you missed it. You missed it. And the Oilers make you pay early in the second overtime on a great deflection in front, and Stars have to be kicking themselves. And I'm here as well. Look, it's not lost on me that, as maybe critical as I am about the Stars here tonight, they were in the hockey game. They got to an overtime, and they had some of the better looks. If you look at the scoring chances at 5-on-5 in that first overtime period, they outchanced them at 8-8 or 8-7, excuse me. And then overtime had some good looks, just unable to bury them. And I think that's still a good sign moving forward for the Stars. They didn't play their best hockey game. I don't think even close to it. And they were right there. They still gave Edmonton all they could. Didn't have great nights from Johnston's line. Ben Seguin and Dodonov was the best for most of it. Pavelski and Pavelski's line got better as it wore along, at least along with Marchment, but wasn't a whole lot of consistency in terms of offense for the Stars. So they'll have to work some things out and adjust here a bit. But look, it's the first game of a series, and sometimes it's easy to overreact. I'm no stranger to it. It's certainly not the plan. You don't want to fall behind 1-0, but it seems to be a theme here with Pete DeBoer and the Dallas Stars are now 0-7 in their last 7 game ones. And Pete DeBoer hasn't been able to crack that code yet. So game 2 is a big one, obviously, on Saturday. So let's tease that a bit, look into what the Stars can do better in game 2, and even this thing up heading back to Edmonton for game 3. And we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is also brought to you by Indeed. There is no I in team, but there is one in Indeed. When you're hiring, you need Indeed. It's the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. They streamline hiring with powerful tools to find you matched candidates. Candidates you invite to apply are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who only see it in search, according to US Indeed data. So that's what's so great about Indeed. It does all the hard work for you, and it shows you candidates whose resume are on Indeed that fit your job description. So you're only getting candidates that you'd want to hire. Indeed is so unbelievably powerful. So go ahead, join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that are using Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/lockedon. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/lockedon. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. So game 2 is on Saturday in Dallas. I want to say the start time is scheduled for 7 o'clock in that one, and it is. And I made the joke that this is what we get for having decent start times finally here in game 1. It goes to double overtime. I don't want to say props to McDavid for ending it early in the second overtime period, but I'm sure many Stars fans on one side were at least happy they could go to bed and have to get up for work the next morning, but obviously would have liked to gone to bed with a happier result. And that's what the Stars will look for in game 2 here on Saturday. Look, the Stars are going to be just fine. I think they're going to be just fine. As I alluded to, did not have their best stuff tonight, didn't have their legs. Their forecheck is going to get a lot better. They can get a lot cleaner, especially in their own zone. I thought there was just some uncharacteristic plays. They really struggled on the boards beneath the end line. Was something that sort of stood out for me. I thought Edmonton did a really good job, especially against Tanev and Lindell, of just being physical and winning some puck battles beneath the end line, which extended some shifts for the Oilers. The fourth line, the bottom six for Edmonton was buzzing. McLeod had a really, really good night, along with Ryan. And of course, we talk ad nauseum about these big names for Edmonton, but I'd be remiss not to mention the Evander Kanes of the world, and Carrick, who had really, really strong nights. And I thought the depth for Edmonton was better for Dallas here tonight. And that is something that is not going to be a successful recipe for Dallas moving forward. That just cannot happen if they want to win this series, because Draisaitl and company are going to do their damage. We understand that. But if they get that effort and that sort of production, and I know it didn't lead to goals or whatever, but just production in general from wearing down the Stars' defense, just winning some of those board battles and at least extending shifts. You saw it in the third period. Edmonton spent a lot of offensive zone time away from their own net, which led to, of course, a lot of success and limiting the Stars' chances when they were trying to push to tie the game. Eventually, they tied the game, of course, as we all know, but it was a real textbook third period for the most part for the Oilers. That is something that is going to have to flip on its head heading into game two. The Stars' bottom six has to outplay Edmonton's, and in game one, they were fantastic, the Oilers. Carrick and McLeod, Kane for that matter. I know he's not bottom six, but he had an impact. He certainly had an impact. On the bright side, Roope Hintz seems to be closer to coming back, and that could be a big injection into this lineup, because DeBoer is doing all he can to juggle up the lines and find a way to at least get some offense. But if you have Roope, you can move him back to the top line with Robertson and even Pavelski, or you can throw Johnston up there, whoever. But everything else just, it falls back into place, right? Because then you can have Duchesne, Seguin, and Marchment. And then you can have Ben Pavelski, Stankoven, or Ben in between the kids, right? And the Stars have found a way to generate offense even without Roope in the lineup. That's not necessarily a concern. But if you have Roope as your 1A, then everything just falls back into place and you get consistency that you had in an 82-game regular season for the most part, where everyone's comfortable playing with each other. And then, yes, if it's not firing in all cylinders, you can break it up and throw guys together to at least find something. But Roope, it just feels like he's going to be a huge key moving forward if he can rejoin this lineup, because everything falls back into place and it just feels like all the different cogs in the wheel are set for the Stars. He's skating. The report was he was skating extensively a few days ago. He's still day-to-day, so no real, I guess, timetable, or I can't even really speculate a good return for him. But man, if he's good to go for game two, I think that can do a lot for the Star squad, especially up front. It allows everyone to go back to where they thrive in a lot of ways, in a role that they can all be successful in. And look, it's not like they haven't won without him, but we've seen him now without him for a few games, and it is different. It's just a different flow. It's not the same beat, so to speak. And Roope was finally starting to get going too. when he had to leave Game 5 against Colorado with an injury, which was very, very unfortunate. But yeah, a lot of things to adjust moving into Game 2. Power play obviously has to get better. Sometimes you just have to execute, and it's about simplifying, throwing pucks on net, make Skinner earn it. And Skinner was great too. That's a huge, huge sign moving forward for Edmonton. If they get that net minding for most of this series, they're going to be right in this thing. They're going to be right in this thing. So I'm really intrigued to see how the Stars look in Game 2, because I thought they were just a step behind here tonight. Just a step behind, not quite firing on all cylinders. So maybe we get a much hungrier team for Game 2. So should be a fantastic one. And hopefully the Stars can even this puppy up at 1 apiece after Saturday night. Edmonton takes Game 1 of overtime by a final score of 3-2 in double overtime. Connor McDavid with the game winner, and the Oilers have a 1-0 series lead. Tell me if you've heard that before. The Stars fall in Game 1. All righty, that'll do it for today's episode of Locked On Stars. Appreciate any of you that have stayed up to enjoy this one, but I know many of you will just catch it here in the next morning or on Friday. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, never miss an episode. Follow Locked On Stars on Twitter, along with Joey the Jet 19 as well. Not for sure if I'm going to put an episode out after Game 2. I'm currently traveling for a wedding, so I don't know how that's going to work. So I may put out a preview for Game 2, but not for certain on if there's going to be a reaction episode because of a wedding and all that good stuff. Anyways, done rambling for tonight. I'm tired. It's another late one. Time to hit the hay. Alrighty, that'll do it for today. Have a wonderful weekend, Stars fans. And of course, we'll talk to you soon. So long, everybody.